For Battle Royale, Gulag 1v1 will be returning, so no more 2v2. With the change, players will see the return of the original Warzone overtime mechanic, the domination style flag, in place of the jailer, which makes sense. We've also made some logical changes to the Gulag experience. Ground loot has been revisited, as well as loadout players will spawn in with. We've updated the pool to include assault rifles, and this goes back to the quality of life changes we saw towards the end of Warzone, where they kind of chose specific weapons so that when you won your Gulag and you came back, you would actually come back with a proper gun. For those players leaving the arena victorious, the Gulag will grant a larger cash reward to players. This change to oh, that's good. That's even different than we've ever had. Is loot and inventory. As announced last week, we're shifting away from loot window menus to floating loot that will now drop out of your containers in the world, similarly supply boxes. This change is intended to improve the pace of the gameplay by minimizing time spent navigating the UI and getting players back into action faster. That is kind of going back to Warzone 1, but I think you're still going to have a backpack. Excited to see new backpack system give players the agency to customize their inventory, desired play style, or role within the squad. In our continued effort to balance engagements, medium-large backpacks will no longer be available, and eliminated players will drop loot onto the ground rather than loot-filled backpacks. Oh, they removed backpacks. So you do have your like regular, but you always have a small backpack. So it means you can't stow another weapon. Interesting. That is a huge change. So it's kind of like they didn't get rid of the backpack completely, but your inventory slots are pretty limited. So you're probably going to stock up mostly on plates, probably a stack of ammo, and just your regular streak. Interesting. Every player will have the same backpack throughout the entire game, which will subsequently reduce the impact of stacking medical supplies like self-revives, equipment, kill streaks. We'll continue to look for feedback and provide updates that streamline the looting experience for everyone. That is kind of an interesting change. I think that one's going to have mixed reviews. Loadouts have always been a core part of Warzone's Battle Royale, despite what some people think, that this should be like every other Battle Royale. It should be like Warzone's Battle Royale, but that's another story. Something we pay close attention to, the changes players have seen with the launch of Warzone 2, and since then have ultimately been in pursuit of the most fulfilling experience for the individual and the team, all while keeping things challenging. As such, we're making further changes to how players acquire part of the entirety of their loadouts. Season 2 will introduce customizable perk packages. Oh man, that could be OP, but it's interesting to see. This feature will launch with a slightly reduced pool of available perks, which we may slowly reintroduce over time. We want to navigate this particular feature as careful as possible. That's good. They're going to restrict it heavily, ensuring that all players' available perks provide ample utility and remain viable balance options. 3-plate vest. We're continuing evaluating the pace of the combat engagements and have decided to make a change. All players will start with the 3-plate vest, less RNG. Varying sizes of vests will no longer exist in Battle Royale loot. This standardization will bring a more reliable feel to each engagement from the get-go. We'll continue looking at data about optimizing downtime and improving the ability to recover from a prior engagement. We have made an important tweak to the movement that should yield better outcomes for players in combat. Starting with Season 2, players will be able to bust through doors while plating the way they would if they were sprinting.